What's up, guys? Red Devil Ace, and I did say in my last video that the next video I was going to make after that one was a video that I was going to be happy about, was going to be passionate talking about, and hopefully it's going to be going to put me in a better mood. And thankfully, all three of those points are going to be made in this video because this video is going to be an Ace's point of view, and this is going to be a review of a movie that I've been very much looking forward to because of the people behind it, of the type of movie that it was, and the repercussions of this movie. And thankfully, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to this one because the film I'm going to be talking about today is Iron Lung. Now, as many people know, Iron Lung is an indie game that where you where it takes place of the player being inside of a submarine while traversing an ocean made of blood. Meanwhile, they're being hunted down by a giant monster. Now, aside from that sounding like the most emo shit ever, the game is actually pretty straightforward. There wasn't a lot of story or plot behind it when it first came out, but it did start to gain some traction because from Let's Players and other Twitch streamers streaming the game and providing their insight. And one of these Let's Players, gaming legend Markiplier, liked this film so much that he dedicated 3 years to make a film adaptation for this game. Now, now I've been a fan of Markiplier for years, and aside from funny Let's Plays and also pretty really ridiculous milestone and just random videos that he'd mostly post, he is also known for making kind of cinematic choose your own story type of videos, like a Heist with Markiplier, In Space with Markiplier, and I think Who Killed Markiplier. So he is he is pretty experienced when it comes to making a bit more edit heavy and a bit more story heavy videos than the ones he usually make about like Darkiplier and all of these different personas. Like Wilford Warfstache was a really popular character in his channel, but this is his first time stepping into the shoes of a different character, a different world, and apparently he directed, produced, and is the main star, and he distributed this film himself. Now, I will touch on like why him being the solo distributor and the director and the producer and the main star, why all that is so important in a bit, but to begin, let's talk about the movie itself. And first and foremost, I just want to say I very much enjoyed this film. This was a very, very well made film. Like, I can see all the work, all the love, all the little attention to details, all like the type of vision that Mark had for this film. It was very invigorating. Also, like, gave me the feeling that he wanted to be claustrophobic yet atmospheric at the same time. He wanted to find ways to build tension in this film, and up until the final climax, it really had me on edge just from what I was watching in front of me in that movie theater. Now, the film did come out in January 30th, and I did watch it 5 days later, so I am a little bit late to the party. But, and I did see that IGN and other review sources were giving it low ratings. Honestly, this was like a good 8 out of 10 because it stayed true to the original format of the game. Because even though the game has a pretty simple premise, and like I said before, a bunch of Let's Players and a bunch of Twitch streamers gave it more traction, and it caused the creator to make more plot for this game. It gave Markiplier a little bit to work with, and this story was absolutely heartbreaking because the film take instead of just being in a rusted submarine inside of an ocean of blood, it also talks about an event called the Great Rapture, where in the world of Iron Lung, all habitable planets and moons just disappeared. Just it is not like they got destroyed or they got invaded. They were just gone without a trace, and all that's left is just a vacuum of space with a bunch of asteroids and desolate moons, and then these things called blood oceans started appearing after the Great Rapture, and the remnants of humanity are trying to get into these blood oceans to figure out if there's anything that can be used for the betterment of humanity. But and this sounds like something like, oh, like researchers built these submarines and they're gonna go down these blood oceans to see what's down there themselves, right? Not exactly. Because aside from the Great Rapture, it also talks about two factions, which is the Consolidation of Iron, aka COI, and Eden. Now, you know, being the last remnants of humanity, you would believe that these two would work together because they're just the last strand of life in space. But apparently, these two are warring factions, and there was this raid on a COI station called Filament Station, in which Mark's character Simon is blamed for the destruction of that colony. Even though he tries to speak out about his own innocence to COI as the movie progresses, and it was just a really heartbreaking story of, being at the wrong place at the wrong time. And just the beginning of this film very much got me hooked, and I was not prepared for what was about to transpire as the film went on. Cause like Simon had mentioned before, Simon is a convict from Eden that's been tasked by COI as some sort of, I think it's called conviction realization program, where convicts are sent down to these blood oceans to gather samples and just capture photography of any sort of life and resources that COI can use. And just from the get go, you know that COI is not to be trusted, because just being sent into an ocean that is unknown with no training whatsoever, and Mark emphasized that in his Let's Plays that, oh yeah, 4 blood oceans, and what happened to the last 3? What happened to the convicts that were sent down there beforehand? I have no training. And it puts a bit more of a spin on the original game, but and also kind of evolved the story of Iron Lung a little bit, because in the original game, you're given a map and you have to take photographs of checkpoints across this map, and then the game ends. I'm not going to say how it ends, but then just the game ends and there's that. Meanwhile, Mark, in his videos playing Iron Lung, had these theories on, like, what if you can go outside of the map? What if you do things a different way? And you can very much see Mark's own input in this project, and it was just a thrilling ride. The whole 2 hours and 26 minutes, I think it was, or I think it's 2 hours and 14 minutes. It was just a very methodical, very well made film. And also there is this one picture that Mark posted of him sitting on a hospital gurney with his eyes bloodshot red, and I was like, what the hell happened to Mark? And then once I saw certain scenes play, I was like, oh, that's why. That's why Mark had those bloodshot eyes in that picture he posted. But I just very much want Hollywood to take this as a lesson on how video game adaptations need to be made, because I'm just sick and freaking tired of directors putting their own spin on it, or trying to say like, oh, my vision of this game is a lot better than what the original was. No, 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 no. Because Markiplier's adaptation of Iron Lung was true to the source material from beginning to end. It did not deviate at all. It did not create any side stuff that seemed too distracting. The movie played out just like the video game would play out, but more threatening, I should say. And what I mean by that is, like, one popular video game adaptation, the Five Nights at Freddy's movies. Like, Five Nights at Freddy's 1 was a very well made film. It did kind of stay true to the source material, but just the background characters in Final Freddy's 1 was way too distracting. And also, the animatronics getting together with the main leads and building fucking tree forts out of chairs. And having this really weird 1980s style funtage of them high-fiving each other and just having a jolly of a time, and then it cuts to freaking murder. No, because Five Nights at Freddy's is a game series that takes place with a security guard stuck in an office trying to survive the night. And I feel like we got some of that in this film. And look, I understand that the FNAF lore was like a really large part of the game series, and I feel like the director of that film wanted to focus more on the lore rather than what made FNAF like rather than just making FNAF more like the gameplay of it. I can understand that. I understand plot is important, but you can have a plot and still stay true to what makes a certain game special. And hopefully Street Fighter takes this to heart, because although the last Street Fighter adaptation with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia was fun, but it's a cult classic. Like, I don't think it was trying to be that serious. Like, Street Fighter was a movie that kind of took advantage of how silly the Street Fighter game really was and just tweaked different characters of it, which was really, really distracting. But overall, it was just a pretty fun film, even though it was kind of off. But it was a fun film. And FNAF, it was a fun film. Like, I know I was getting a shit earlier, but it was a fun film. And FNAF 2, also just a fun film. But I feel like Iron Lung is the one video game adaptation that was the most loyal to its source material, and I firmly stand by that. And just the fact that Markiplier was the producer, director, main lead, financed this film himself, and was a sole distributor, it is a big, big, big win for independent creators out there that wants to make their own films. Because like IGN and other review sources were giving this film low ratings, and I feel like that's just extremely disappointing, because anyone that's an average movie enjoyer, like, not if anyone was watching this just to make a review out of it and like is on a Hollywood side and like, oh no, this should have been done differently, or Hollywood would have never done this, like, they're just shitting on something that is very much special. And it's just really unfair that Hollywood is honestly pissed off at Mark, because this is a big win not just for independent creators, but just for cinema in general. Like, this was a very, very, very good film. And if I were to give a rating at a good, like, 1 out of 10 rating, I would honestly give this an 8 or a 9 even. This, like, I can very much see the 3 years of work and dedication that Mark put towards this film, and it paid off in my eyes. It was just the story that was laid out in front of me, and him expanding on the game of Iron Lung was just fun to watch. And also these flashback scenes giving the story more context. It made it made me feel like I just did not want the movie to end, because I wanted to know more about this world. Like, what's going on with COI? Like, why are they looking? Why are they looking into the Blood Oceans? Why did Eden attack them in the first place? And it just gave me more questions, and I'm happy it did, because that's what movies are supposed to do. Like, and if they make an Iron Lung 2, I will most likely try to catch it as soon as it shows up on cinema instead of watching it late. But and also, I just remember Markiplier making videos like how this was number one in the box office. Like, that is just an absolutely insane achievement. And honestly, as an aspiring content creator, I'm proud to look up to Mark just from how far just from how far he's gone over the years. And as a fan, I'm really happy with the movie that was put in front of me. Like, in all aspects, as a reviewer, as a content creator, as a fan of Markiplier, as a fan of movies, it's just checked all the boxes for me, honestly. Because Markiplier is the kind of person that puts his heart and soul into everything that he does. And it's honestly, the things he makes are low key just special. Like, he makes things that a lot of people are afraid to do, but it's because he puts so much hard work behind it. It's honestly incredible to see the end result. And yeah, hopefully the creative Iron Lung makes a sequel to the first Iron Lung game, because I genuinely just want to know more about this world. And I will try to play Iron Lung myself on my Twitch channel, and maybe I'll put like, and I did have a few ideas of putting a spin on that, but yeah, all in all, if you guys are watching this, and if Iron Lung is still in theaters, please treat yourselves. It was just an incredible film from start to finish. And I don't think I have any gripes about the game. I mean, about the movie. Like, the whole movie takes place inside of the Iron Lung. Uh, the plot was astounding. The setting was claustrophobic, and it's just the way Mark tried to create tension with all of these different camera shots, and just the dialogue was so heavy and raw. It was just it's a movie that it's better to watch yourself rather than hear someone like me try to explain it. But all in all, like, congrats to Mark. Congrats, I think his name is David Szymanski, and just everyone involved with the film. It was just, I hope to see more films like this, because this was genuinely an inspiring film for content creators, for filmmakers, and it just also comes to show just the mental process you can put in characters to make them feel real, even though the world they live in is not real and can never be real whatsoever. You know, just we're just a bunch of space colonies floating around in an endless vacuum of nothing. That is some pretty dark shit. If I had to say so myself. But yeah, like, Iron Lung, honestly, like 8.5 out of 10. Like, I very much enjoyed it, and I honestly cannot wait. If Markiplier makes another film adaptation, you can bet your ass that it's gonna be a good film. Like, I can just already tell. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this, please like, share, and subscribe. And also, please, if you can, please send a quick follow over to my Twitch channel. That's at Red Devil Ace with the number 1 at the end. And yeah, I'm just excited to make more happy videos of me talking about the things that I like on this channel, because just the beginning of just the beginning of the year was just really, really rough. And I want to get back to making more videos like this, because I just very much enjoy talking about geeky shit, I guess. And also, if there's something you can take away from Iron Lung, is just not to trust any higher powers, or else you'll end up like Simon. Wrong place, wrong time, being sent to somewhere that you don't want to go, and you end up paying the price for them. So, honestly, if you guys have an idea or a dream, get out there and give it all you got, because just like Markiplier, you too can reach an absolute height you've never thought you'd reach. And like I always say, get the blood boiling and the heart pumping. My name is Red Devil Ace, and I'll see you all next time.